Welcome to the Dynasty Dojo. Hey, what's going on, guys? Lee Commish, Jay Santos here with my main man, Dougie Fresh. How you doing, boy?
How you doing, boy?
Yeah, we're going through some... It wouldn't be a podcast if we didn't go through some level of audio difficulties, so... If you're listening, which I know only two of you are, just turn the volume up.
Jay's using the headphones he got on a flight to Aero, Mexico when he was 12.
It was actually Santo Domingo, to be specific, but as Shona would say, I always say, I digress. But yes, I did get it on a T-Mobile flight. Let's go into the rundown. It's been a while, so let's go into the rundown before.
I mean, we actually did record some podcasts. You just never produced them.
Correct. Yeah, you didn't have any winning records with your bets, so I was doing you a service.
That's probably not true.
Kind of was. But I don't want to tell the people what they should or they shouldn't lose, so we'll go into exactly what they will win some money on this week at the end. So, speaking of what we're going to talk about, so we're going to talk about the current standings, we're going to talk about the playoff scenarios, the Week 14 matchups, our Week 14 picks, and then our bets. So, the current standings right now has me in the one spot, the Barretts in number 2, Nick and Doug follow up with the other 2 playoff spots if the playoffs started today. Shauno is on the outside looking in at number 5, and then Timmy, Tommy, and Brian have 6 through 8 with the Beaties and Scotty on the bottom 2. Anything with the standings stand out to you?
Yeah, so Scotty started 2-0, hot start. He's now lost 11 straight. Timmy's getting kind of jumped. He's got third most points for, and he's sitting there at 6 and 7, holding his wiener, flapping it in the wind. So those are the 2 things that jump out at me.
Oh, I 100% agree about Timmy. Timmy has one of the best teams in the league. I mean, as you said, he's got the third most points, so I'm pretty excited that he's not in the playoffs because he definitely would have made noise if he got in. But that's not how the cookie crumbles.
Something else that's funny is Scott has 500 points, literally 500.5 less than you, Jay. But he's also, not only does he have the least amount of points for by 264, but he's also got the most points against. Second most to Timmy, but he's got a lot. It's been a pretty tough year for Scott.
Yeah, not a lot went Scotty's way after 2 weeks. But, hey man, you're going to get a guaranteed top 4 pick and also the top supplemental pick, so your rebuild starts now, even though it probably should have started years ago. Alright, so now let's go into the playoff scenarios. A lot of moving and shaking that could happen over the next week. So Doug, Nick, and Kevin are in with a win. Shauno, as I said, is on the outside looking in. Shauno is in with a W, and he outscores Nick by 17.6 points, or he gets a win and a Doug loss, and with a 1% chance, probably less than 1% chance of happening, Sean is also in if he wins and the Barretts lose, and Shauno outscores them by 76 points. That last scenario, yeah, probably not going to happen. But also, some seeding in the playoffs could also change as well. Doug, you could potentially be the number 2 spot if things fall your way. The Barretts could fall to the number 4 spot. Nick could be the 2, 3, or 4 seed. So a lot of stuff can change over this weekend. And then when it comes to the consolation bracket, the Beaties will get a guaranteed top 4 pick with a loss, or Brian gets a top 4 pick with a loss and a Beaties win. So a lot of stuff still could happen. Anything about the playoff scenarios stand out to you?
Just from my own perspective, I don't want to root against anybody or for anybody, but it would, assuming that I win, I probably want Sean to beat Nick, right? So I can jump to that 3, potentially 2 seed, so I don't have to see you right away in the playoffs. But realistically, it's a nice, interesting finish to the season. Winning you're in is where you really want to be, and I feel lucky to be there.
How do you feel about how the strength of schedule? This is the first year that I changed up the strength of schedule to try and make more teams involved throughout the year. How do you feel that played out?
I don't really look at it. I haven't really focused on it. Just going off of the points against, I feel like I'm kind of in the middle of the pack, so I feel okay. Maybe, I don't know. I don't really think about it. I don't remember. I think I've only played you once, which is probably helpful. I don't really know though.
You actually played me twice. I played the top 5 scoring teams twice. Meanwhile, Shauno and I think a couple other people played the bottom 3 scoring teams. So it was just and Nick as well. So it was just basically trying to make things a little bit more even for everyone to stay involved throughout the year. We'll try it again next year, see how it works out, and then we'll go from there. All right, so the Week 14 matchups. So the big matchup of this week is going to be Nick versus Shauno. This is an essential playoff game for both of these teams. More so Shauno than Nick, because Nick could still get in if he loses, but it's essentially a playoff game right now. So let's look at that matchup first before we go into anything else. When it comes to these two teams, kind of fairly even, to be honest. Shauno has the edge when it comes to the wide receivers. Nick, he's got some pieces that have been more boom or bust over the course of the season, although Devontae Parker has turned into something finally after he had the old 5-year breakout season going on.
Wild, really. He's like Robert Woods.
I mean, the guy's always had talent. I guess he just needed Adam Gase to just leave Miami in order for him to blow up. But I guess you can say that about a lot of players that Adam Gase coaches. As soon as he leaves, they do better. Other players that'll make a big difference in this matchup will be Josh Allen on Shauno's side. They're going against Baltimore, so that's going to be a tough game for him. But
they're going to need to score, so I think it works both ways.
And the thing with Josh Allen, he's like basically a Cam Newton light. He uses his legs in order for him to get a solid floor. So if he does, he could definitely get a rushing touchdown in that game. And if he does, then Shauno has a better chance of winning. Now, when it comes to Shauno's side, he's getting carried by his running backs. And if you look at his flexes on Nick's side, if you look at Nick's flexes, he's actually got both Seattle running backs playing. I mean,
I think it's wise.
It definitely would have worked out had this been against the Vikings this past Monday night. Kind of dicey doing it again this week, but does he really have any other choices that you feel good about?
Not at all. Not at all.
No, I mean, it's basically going to be...
Doyle?
Yeah, Jack Doyle. The plumber. Jack Doyle. Yeah, not really much happening. And one of the main key cogs on Shauno's side that has carried him through the year, the New England Patriots defense, got a tough matchup going against KC. So, I mean, this matchup can go either way. I'm going to go with... I had to go with the more stable lineup. Actually, neither of these are more stable. I'm going to go with Sean. I'm not sure he can outscore Nick by the 17.6 points that he needs. But I think maybe Sean squeaks a win by, and who knows? Maybe he does get 18 points to get into the playoffs. What do you think?
Yeah, I like the mainstays on Nick's side more than I like what Sean has. I like Chubb, Zeke, the Seattle backfield plus Wilson. You figure if any of these Seattle running backs catch a touchdown, that's like good night Jim Kite for Sean O, because Nick's getting the double whammy there. Parker's been awesome going against the Jets. The Jags. I'd rather play the Jags defense against the Chargers than the Pats be against KC. Pats defense on Sean's side, to me, don't get me wrong, I was the beneficiary of them in another league for the better part of the first 10 weeks of the season, but they don't really look that good. I mean, Houston kind of slaughtered them the other night, and KC looks like that KC needs the win badly, and they finally got kind of the whole unit healthy on offense. So if I'm Sean, I'm not excited to be trotting out the Pats D, and especially with how bad the Pats offense has been, putting them in some bad spots. So I'm going to take Nick here. I think you're right. I think it's probably close, but I like some of the big pieces on Nick's side better than there's not really a huge name on Sean's side outside of Edelman. You can't even really call Beckham a big name anymore. So I'm going to take Nick here, which would obviously behoove me as well.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I think, Sean needs a big game out of Odell, and also Miles Sanders might be an X factor. But
he's been nice lately. He's been a good player lately.
He's been very good. All right, moving on to, I got 2 limp dick matchups for this week just because they really have no impact at all, and that's me versus Tommy and Scotty versus Timmy. Which one do you want to start off with first?
We'll go Scotty, Timmy.
Okay. Go ahead.
Buffering. You have it open?
Yeah, I guess I'll kick it off. So, you might not even want to look at this. So Timmy's projected to outscore him by 42 points. Like I said before, Timmy's got a solid roster. Not only has he gotten unlucky with points against, but also Adam Thielen and T.Y. Hilton have been out for the majority of the season.
Thielen, man, that dude, that's a killer.
Yeah.
I got him in another spot. He killed me all year. I mean, it fucking sucks.
And Timmy is still third most points scored without Thielen and T.Y. Hilton most of the year. I really think Timmy's got a great chance of winning the number 1 overall seed in the losers bracket.
Yeah, I mean, he was missing Gordon the first however many weeks Gordon sat out too. I mean, Timmy really, this was a great opportunity for him, and it just didn't play out. It kind of sucks.
Yeah, he's going to benefit next year from a softer schedule. But I think we've beaten the dead horse. I think Timmy's going to slaughter Scotty, and I think that's all the analysis that I need to go into for that one.
Yeah, I mean, Scotty's bench is just a horrifying scene. The fact that he hasn't started using Raheem Mostert yet is like that. Raheem Mostert might be the best player on Scott's team, and he's still on his bench. So anyway, yeah, Timmy's gonna.
They call him
clean this one up.
Raheem Mahonster.
Never heard that one. I don't like it though. I've heard Colonel Mostert.
Yeah, I kind of put too much emphasis on that one. Didn't ring good.
Didn't go so good.
No, let's forget that ever
I've
happened.
got the next matchup pulled up, opened a new window. Look at me, I'm a pro. So Jay versus Tommy in the other limp matchup. Yeah, Tommy had a pretty good squad until I just, kind of stepped on his hopes and dreams last week. Thanks for coming. DJ Chark, man, we had such high hopes for him. And then, Foles is back, big arm, and Foles is benched. $80 million later, Foles got benched. So, not ideal. He's got Hopkins, he's got Marvin Jones, but he's got the blowjob at quarterback, so it's going to be tough. Just take Jay, because Jay probably wins.
I do think I win this matchup. Tommy's got some good pieces on his side, too. He's probably, him, Timmy, and Brian are probably the top three favorites in the losers bracket. I think now with Mr. Mustache Gardner Minshew back as the starter, I think DJ is going to be back to his high scoring ways. Just a side note, DJ Chark, future fantasy superstar for the long term?
No.
Really? I love the
Yeah,
guy.
he's good. I don't know. I think things would have to change in the offense, and even Minshew's fun and all, but I don't know that he's like a guy. Like maybe he's Andy Dalton, which I guess could make DJ Chark AJ Green, but I don't know. I don't see it, but it's not a lot of what's this the second year? Maybe it is. I don't know.
Yeah, it's his second year. He's 6'5". He runs a 4.4. He wins jump ball, contested catches. I really like the player. I really like the talent. Hopefully he doesn't have a shitty situation just like what Allen Robinson had over there in Jacksonville. But I think he's got a bright future for years to come.
Can we talk about another guy?
Go ahead.
How bad is Sony Michel?
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus.
Yeah.
That dude fucking stinks.
Terrible.
Dude, pull up the game log. He hasn't missed a game. He gets work. He just sucks.
Yeah, he falls down easily on contact.
It's strange. I thought he was going to be a hammer. Sucks.
You would think in a good offense. Although, are the Patriots that good of an offense? I don't think so.
No, I mean they suck, but still, with the amount of work that Sony Michel has gotten, the types, especially look at the types of games that they were in for the first 10 weeks of the year. That dude should be. He's RB 27 on the season. He hasn't missed a game. He's the number one running back. What?
He doesn't have a single 100-yard game all year. Although he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 games of 19-plus rushes. Yeah. I mean, the guy was coming to the year hurt. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but
I mean, he's got 6 touchdowns on the year, but 3 of them came in one game.
yeah.
A game in which he averaged 2.2 yards a carry. What?
Yeah. Hasn't.
Terrible.
I mean, I don't know.
No receiving production whatsoever.
Yeah, that's all James White's job over there.
Terrible. That dude sucks.
Not good at all.
He killed Tommy this year because you literally have no choice. You have to run him out there. You have to play him.
Yeah, if
15 carries on the Patriots, you got to play him.
Yeah, I mean, he wouldn't have played him. I think there was a couple times he didn't play him because he had Marlon Mack. But with Mack hurt and not really any other and he's got Scary Terry, and he kind of went downhill once after the first 7 weeks of the year. Tommy's got talent on his team. I still love Sterling Shepard as a talent, but
Sure.
Daniel Jones, he looks like he's seen ghosts. Yeah,
Tiny hands, man. He's got tiny hands. Just fumbles it all the time.
I mean, the guy's got no sense of pocket awareness. It's terrible. But he's got some great pieces on his team. Like Marvin Jones he's putting up numbers again. It was 2 years ago that he was a top 5.
You just wonder how much longer he can do it. Dude's been in the league a long time. He's got to be in the league 8 to 10 years, right?
I'm thinking closer to 8 than 10. Yeah. Yeah, he's on a second contract. I think it's closer to 8, but I mean, he's got pieces. I think we talk too much on Tommy's team, but Tommy, I think you're on the right path. I think you got some players. So better luck next year. So moving into the other matchups, it's the Beaties versus the Barretts, and then you versus Brian. Which one do you want to touch on first?
I don't know. Pick one, man. I'm buffering over here. Got 2 windows, just buffering.
All right, I'll start off with you and Brian. Brian's team has been doing well over the last few games. I think he might have scored the most points last week. He's got some nice young talent on his squad. Calvin Ridley, Jarvis Landry has actually performed as number one wide receiver on his team.
Unbelievable.
All right, what do you think about this? Do you think the Browns trade Nick Chubb in the offseason and hand the keys to Kareem Hunt next year?
I haven't thought about it, but I don't really think so. Isn't Nick Chubb still on a rookie contract? It's only his second year.
It's correct.
You got to keep guys like that.
But also, do you think that's a bargaining chip on the Browns' end to trade him because he is on that rookie contract?
And you said trade him for what? What position
I don't know. I mean, they'd need offensive line help. So if they get a top end offensive lineman,
they might need a quarterback.
how about that Lamar Jackson take about Baker?
Lamar Jackson's like the best player I've ever seen in the last like 20 years. So yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, next Michael Vick. I said it a year ago.
He's like better than Michael Vick though. Like he's better than to me he's better than peak Michael Vick because he doesn't get hit. I mean that's the whole thing. Was like it's great that he can run, but like running quarterbacks like they should get hurt because they do. Like Lamar Jackson literally doesn't get hit. I didn't watch last week, but who did they play the week before? It was a national game.
It was the Rams. It was the Rams.
Yeah, and like he didn't like take hits, but like he like hit the ground hard a couple times, and I was like, you don't really want, but like he doesn't get hit by people. It's strange. Like he's so slippery.
Slippery.
He's pretty fucking awesome.
That's the best word. Slippery. All right, so going back into the matchup though, Chris Godwin is another key player on his team. I wasn't a huge fan.
I don't love it at all. Brian's team looks like really good.
Yeah. I wouldn't feel too secure if I was in your shoes. Although you obviously have one of the best teams. You're second in points scored this year, so you are the favorite in this matchup. I'll take you, but I do like Brian's team, and like I said before, I think he's a top 2 or top 3 team in the losers bracket. You do have some good matchups on your side when it comes to.
You get some bad ones though.
I mean, is Devonta Freeman any good anymore?
He got a lot of work last week. That's all I can say about that. I'm just tired of starting Fuller the wrong week and benching him the wrong week, so that's why I have him there now. But there's certainly some conversations that can take place in my front office regarding that particular flex spot. Yeah, the other thing, all my Chiefs are at New England. I know I talked before about New England's defense not being maybe as good as we thought. Like it's still not a great spot. I think we could all agree on that. So
historically, the Chiefs have actually done pretty good against the Patriots.
That's good to know. Didn't know that. And Andy Reid. I think when it comes to playing the Patriots, like there's got to be a good coach. There's a reason that like Harbaugh has a fair amount of success against the Patriots. I would think that Andy Reid would probably fall into that category. Realistically, this is the best my team has looked health-wise in a number of weeks. So I've got that going for me. I'm considering playing Prescott over Mahomes just to hedge a little bit, figuring if Mahomes has a bad day, so too does Hill and Kelsey. And I don't know that I want all 3 of those duds. So still considering Prescott. I think I'll feel a lot better on Friday morning when I wake up and see that Dallas defense had like 3 pick sixes against Trubisky, and we'll be off to the races.
It actually might be 6 pick sixes against.
He sucks, but so too does Dallas' defense. So, dude, Leighton Vander Esch, like, why is that guy not playing? Why can't he doesn't play anymore? He's hurt. What happened?
I don't know why. Another side note. I don't know how the Cowboys are this bad. I mean, the Steelers have a better record than the Cowboys.
The Cowboys have been favored in every game they've played, except for the Patriots game.
I don't understand how they lose these games.
It's insane. It's not good. I mean, I'm at the point where, at this point, I almost just want them to lose so that they'll fire Jason Garrett, just so I have something different to look at next year.
Good luck, man. You're going to need it. But all right, so we're both taking you in this matchup, even though we both agree that Brian's got a good team.
Yes.
Okay. All right, and the other matchup is Kevin versus the Beaties. This has some playoff implication on both sides.
The
Look,
Beatties are trying out their best stuff. I mean, they're not. Well, actually, I might be lying.
Irv
No,
Smith
hold on.
as their tight end.
Yeah, when they have is Hooper back this week?
He could be. I think he did, or he's going to practice this week. So that's a big upgrade for them if they get him in there. That would be pretty much the only other option that they have to go in there. And the Barretts have Ryan Griffin as their tight end. Um, they're kind of soft at their wide receiver position with Jamison Crowder and Debo Samuel. I do love Debo.
Yeah, he's gonna help them for a long time.
He's a running back that plays wide receiver. The guy's tough. But then they have Sam Darnold against Miami. I don't know. The Jets, they just lost to the Bengals. They're the only team to lose to two teams the same year that were 0-7 or worse.
Yep.
Unreal. I guess you got to go with the. I mean, I might go with the Beaties just because of McCaffrey just had his worst game of the year and it wasn't even that bad. Like he's projected to score 25 points and
Fucking
his
unbelievable, that guy.
he was his second worst game.
Side note. I was looking at the touchdown odds. Like every week, you get odds on who scores a touchdown. Christian McCaffrey was minus 400 to score a touchdown.
That's unreal.
You had to bet $40 to win 10 on whether or not he would score a touchdown. I've never seen that. I've never even seen minus 300.
I think he also broke most fantasy points over the first 12 weeks ever in a PPR setting.
I mean, he's incredible.
Yeah, he's unreal.
And the Beatties are 3-10. That can't feel good.
Yeah, I mean their team's surrounded by them, but they do have some good pieces. Cortland Sutton, he's a stud. He's an absolute stud. Did you see that catch, that one-handed catch, diving? Oh my God. It was definitely questionable, but still for him to make that still be questionable and borderline, that was unbelievable. All right, I'm going to take the Beaties just because of the horse of Christian McCaffrey. What do you think?
I'm going the other way. The Beatties have no motivation to win this game. They shouldn't win this game, and they won't win this game.
Settled. All right. So everybody's favorite segment, we're going into our bets. So as I do every time, because I don't look at anything before I get here, I'm going to let you kick this off first.
Okay. First things first. If the Boston Bruins play hockey, you have to bet the Boston Bruins. There's no two ways about it.
I heard they're playing games the rest of the season, so
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're slated to play probably in the neighborhood of like 50 more games.
correct.
And you're gonna want to play some Lakers games. Nonetheless, we'll start on Saturday. We'll start on Friday. So it's championship weekend in college football. Friday night we got the Pac-12 championship game. Utah versus Oregon. Not sure where the game is. I would assume neutral site. Utah favored by 6. Oregon stinks. And Utah quarterback's really good, and they pound it. Play pretty good defense. I'll take Utah laying the 6 versus Oregon in the Pac-12 championship game. All right. Baylor, Oklahoma. Do you have lines, Jay? Because I no longer have access to my normal lines. Actually, maybe I do. Hold tight.
I'm surprised you didn't go with the Thursday night game.
Oh, Dallas. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, we'll take Dallas -3 and lock that one up. All right. Saturday, the Big 12 championship game.
-9?
For Baylor, Oklahoma.
Correct.
I have it at 8, but I'll take the over at 64.5. These dudes do not play any defense. And that is kind of a low number. That thing could be over by the middle of the third quarter easily. 64.5 over.
Yeah, they've never played any defense ever. Okay.
All right. The AAC championship game. This is actually a rematch from like a week ago. Cincinnati versus Memphis. Memphis favored by 9. Last week the line was 11 and Memphis won by 10. I'll take Cincinnati again to cover the 9. Just because they just played, I think there's some familiarity there.
Okay.
I'll take LSU -7 in the SEC championship game against Georgia. And I'll take Wisconsin catching 17 against Ohio State. I don't think the quarterback is healthy for the Buckeyes. So I like Wisconsin to stay just within the number. They definitely lose, but they stay within the number, in my opinion.
Okay.
And then we'll just get a couple more NFL plays here. What do we got?
So you said that you had the Cowboys.
I would say lock of the week would be Kansas City catching 3. Just money line them. It's a win. Like the Patriots think. I'll take San Francisco at New Orleans catching 3. San Fran has showed up to every game. Couple tough losses, but they're just a team that shows up. They know who they are, what they want to do, and they do it pretty well every week. So I'll take San Fran there. I don't think Drew Brees is any good. I'll take the Texans laying 9, and that Pittsburgh line is stinky. Only laying 2.5. Arizona sucks. I like the under in that game. Steelers Cardinals. I think it's like 43.5. And one more, I'll give you Seattle laying 1 at the Rams. Whew.
Wow.
There were some plays in there.
Yeah, 1 or 2. All right, let me get into this now.
Hey man, you got to get this thing out tomorrow so that people can get the winners.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Okay, I do like that Seattle game. Let's see what other games you didn't pick.
I mean, we might as well all just take the Giants, catching 8.5 on Monday night to Philly too, because Philly fucking sucks.
I can't believe they lost that game, man. That was unbelievable.
There's literally not a good player on their team.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Giants in that one.
You can tally that one up on my side too. This could be my first ever 14-0 week.
I'm sure you've said that many of times.
Can you send you're like typing these up? Can you send them to me so that I can remember what they are and take them?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, whatever.
No, seriously though.
Yeah, seriously.
I'll give you 10% of the payout for no reason.
Yeah, all right, done. Didn't really leave me with many options here. I'm gonna go with. I'll go with the Dolphins. Dolphins +5.5 against the Jets on the road. The Jets just haven't shown me anything recently, and with Minshew starting, I guess I like the Jags over the Chargers. They're getting +3 at home. Phillip Rivers is terrible.
Chargers are terrible.
All right, so we got Jacksonville +3 at home. Do I want to do anything else? I said it before. I like the Seattle line, so I'll go with that one too. Okay, I think we are all set. Anything else you want to add?
No, I'm good. Thanks for getting me on the horn here. Hope that people enjoy what they've heard. Hope they take the 14-teamer. I'm literally putting it in right now.
Yeah, it would be in everyone's best interest to not do that.
You guys ever put a 14-teamer that's 11 to win 14,352? As I just did.
All right, maybe I actually might do that.
It's actually a 12-teamer. I just had to do some quick maths there.
Okay, so we're all set. Best of luck to all of you in the last week of the regular season, and hopefully we'll be back next week with the first week of the fantasy playoffs on the Dynasty Dojo.
Now your sensei.